The middle of nowhere can just as easily be the middle of somewhere.
Wow, this is just incredible.
And Chet-Guthrie's been there plenty of times.
When people tell me, you're going nowhere with this, yeah, there's a lot you can do with it.
He's had a lot of adventures with Adventures United, a YouTube channel Guthrie and his friends Nathan King and John Galley run. Their latest project is the Train to the Middle of Nowhere in Morgan County.
It's a classic green diesel engine, two rail cars. But it's just simply, it's out in the middle of nowhere.
They visited the historical, the out of the way, and even some haunted places. Like the old South Pittsburg Hospital.
I will never go back. When I was down there, I started praying with my cross because I just wasn't sure what was going to happen. I noticed that there was a large numbness going down my arm and down my leg, and my heart was beating really funny.
He says it felt like something was grabbing him by the neck.
If you believe in the paranormal, just be careful.
Those type of experiences haven't discouraged him from building a career exploring and making videos.
I mean, I felt like I wasn't fearing, but I was a little bit worried about my heart rate a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You definitely feel, when you're in there, you definitely feel a vibe.
You cannot avoid it, man.
It's so thick in there.
You can't avoid it. I mean, we had to Chet. We walked out. He was having a hard time.
What's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all from a very beautiful sunny day here in South Pittsburg, Tennessee. And today, you guys, I am out here beside this cemetery. This cemetery right here is right next to the Primitive Baptist Church. And this church right here, it was constructed in 1888. Now, it has been around for a very long time, as well as its cemetery. By the way, check that out. You do not see graves like that anymore. Quite a bit of artwork, if you ask me. But back to what I was saying, this church burned down sometime in the 1950s, or I should say the roof burned, and the bell tower was destroyed as well. However, after this took place, attendance slowly declined, until in about the 1970s it was put on the National Registry of Historic Preservations here in South Pittsburg, Tennessee. And it is also said that this cemetery is haunted. It is said to be haunted by the spirit of a woman who has been seen walking the grounds. I believe, as the story went, her child died, and as a result, this woman, while a part of the afterlife, walks amongst the headstones and the graves, trying to find the grave of her baby. Or so, that's the legend that goes. But South Pittsburg is also known for a very big haunted location. It is probably one of the most haunted locations in the state of Tennessee, in the entire United States. And you all are probably knowing what I'm referring to. That is the old South Pittsburg Hospital. Yes, a site that had bloodshed even going back to the days before the hospital was there. You see, it was part of there was a plantation on there at one time. South Pittsburg, before the Trail of Tears, all of this land was a Cherokee town. And the Cherokee, they let white settlers use their lands, especially the Tennessee River. So already, you have a lot of bloodshed. So today we are going to head over there and I'm going to face my own personal demon. Back in 2016, I was a part of the YouTube channel Adventures United. Very similar to what I do now with Dream Poet. But Nathan, John, and we went up to the old South Pittsburg hospital, and we were really filming it just to talk about the abandoned location in itself. Only we got more than we bargained for, or at least on my end. And this particular haunted location, it showed me that spirits do have the ability to harm people. So without further ado, we're going to initiate this next episode of Haunt Season, and we are going to go to the old South Pittsburg Hospital. I'll tell you all some of the things that happened with my experience. So anyway, guys, let's get to it. Let's head over to the hospital. And by the way, if you did not know, there is a really interesting story and symbolism behind these type of graves right here. You see, the stump, it represents that the person's life was ended too soon, or at least that's how it went. Something rather special, something that's been on television, especially Paranormal Witness. Anyway, we are here at the old South Pittsburg Hospital. I don't know about you guys, but every time I get anywhere near this building, I get a headache. And I get this really sick feeling in my stomach. I don't like being here. Now, in recent years, this hospital has become a paranormal research center, or the OSPHPRC, Old South Pittsburg Hospital Paranormal Research Center. I knew the previous owners of the hospital. Her name was Stacy. However, I know ownership changed about a couple of years after I got to know her, and it is owned by another group of people. So I will say though, it looks like they have cleaned the place up, but I'm not gonna lie, seeing that banner right there, it creeps me out just a little bit. This is where I first met Stacy, and this is where the beginning of that channel of Adventures United took place. And we went up here, and I will show you all the door that we entered through. That began this little misadventure of ours. And right there, that's the door. I do not know what it is about the energy of this place, but the moment that we crossed that door right there, it's like a vacuum. Like it felt like the energy was being sucked right out of you, and you did not want to be there. And this is where my story comes in. This is where I had a paranormal experience that made me open up to the idea that maybe I do have a hint of sensitivity in my blood. Now, I know some people probably don't believe in that kind of stuff, that, you know, people are sensitive or they sense things that aren't there. I will say it runs on my family a lot, but the experience that I had here, maybe I do have a hint of that. And it all starts right here in the basement of this building. Now, I don't know if it's still there or not because of the new ownership that has taken place here over the last couple of years. But in the basement, there was a pentagram. This pentagram was green, and it is said that witchcraft was practiced in the basement. And as the former owner, Stacy, told us, the stuff that was going on down there was relatively dangerous. In fact, the energy was so dangerous there. A lot of it was poltergeist activity. She would often have to tell people to turn around when they were down there because stuff would fly off the walls and hit them in the head and stuff. So as she is telling this story, I cross the pentagram. I hold on to a cross that I had. I started praying, and that's where I get this really sick feeling to my stomach. And if you look there in the glass, the waiting room is still relatively clean. So I do like that they are keeping in touch with the building. But back to the story that I was telling, I started getting this really weird feeling. So we went to the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor is where a lot of activity has taken place over the last few years. Now, from what Stacy told us, the former owner, it said that there is a creature on the 3rd floor that's not human. It's not a human entity, but people who have seen it said that it is a very giant creature. It is hairy, and it has been known to hurt people. On the 3rd floor, there is also the child's room, where they're said that there have been the footprints of babies, or babies' footprints, like the wet footprints, I should say, when a nursery has not been there in years. But I started feeling more nauseated, more sick. My heart was beating relatively funny. My entire left side was numb, and overall I was just getting very sick. So I step out of the building while Nathan and John are back inside there, and Nathan follows me outside, and Michael, Nathan's brother, they come out here, and we stand in this parking lot right about in this spot, and that's when they start praying for me. And everything, all this negativity, all this strange nauseousness that I was feeling, it felt like a wall of water was being lifted over me, and I was just feeling a sense of peace. And now I do want to acknowledge that in the time that I've been here, my camera, my GoPro, has shut down on me twice. So I will say the land here is very different. Like right now, I have a headache, and that's not good. Just goes to show that probably what is here does not like the fact that I'm here. And I'm already getting like a headache. So, I don't know. I just don't like being here. And this place just puts off a creepy vibe.
We get home after 6 hours of filming. I have no audio. There is nothing but white noise and pinging through the whole 6 hours of filming. So I called my brother and I said, hey, did you get any footage on your camera? He says, I can't access it. I keep trying to access it. There's nothing on it. I called Chet, who was taking pictures, and he says, it's weird, Nathan. I have been trying to edit these pictures, and I can't edit the pictures. And Chet, actually, after a few hours of being at the hospital, ended up having to go outside. He said he felt like he was under attack. He said he felt very drained, almost felt nauseous. So he went outside and waited. Jesse, who filmed with his camera, also said he was hearing voices throughout his film. Ed came with us on the second trip, and he filmed with his thermal imaging camera. He filmed for about 3 hours throughout the hospital, and once he got home, he only had 2 files on his card, and it was of him walking out of the hospital.
Now, probably one of the most interesting stories that I remember Stacy telling us is that that there was a ghost hunting 101 that was going on in this building a few years back. And there was this older lady that went into the exact same basement that I had gone into when I had all these issues come up that came awry. And she was down there. Stacy got a phone call in the middle of the night. EMS went inside this building. Well, at first they did not want to go inside the building just because they had heard all the different stories that have gone on here. But Stacy, being the woman that she was, she got them to go down into the basement. And as they were bringing this older lady up, she said, "Your ghost did this to me. Your ghost did this to me." And Stacy was wondering, "Well, what are you talking about?" And she said, "I asked it to show me how it died." And well, Stacy, of course, after hearing this, she told us to be careful about what goes on in this building. And in fact, here is the ER portion of the Old South Pittsburg Hospital. But anyway, I think I set something off. But anyway, this is where they used to take people to the ER. And now probably one of the biggest things that was the downfall of the Old South Pittsburg Hospital, it just simply was not well equipped to handle some of these things that were going on at the time. South Pittsburg, there are two factories here. People have gotten really badly hurt. People would come out here trying to get help because it was the next closest hospital. But Old South Pittsburg, the hospital, could not help people. There was a lot of malpractice as well that was going on here. People were getting sick. Actually, there was even some, well, child essay, probably the best way to put it. And there's another part of the building that if you cross it, it will feel like something is sticking its fingers in your mouth. Or so it is said, anyway. Like I said, this building just gives me the creeps. Now, I do remember when this was going on, when we left, I took home my camera at the time. I had photos and video. Well, I could not transition over the photos. It would not let me edit them or the video. It was like it was locked somehow. So I do believe that whatever is here does mess with electronics. It's already happened to me twice, and I'm just on the outside of the building. I'm not trying to provoke anything or challenge anything, but yeah, I just don't like being here. It gives me the absolute creeps. So anyway, guys, we are going to get out of here. I'm done with this place. I do not like it. I just figured with haunt season and people telling me to go to some of these places, I figured I would go to a place that I have refused to go to for the last, well, better part of 7 years. I just cannot stand this building. There is too much negativity here. There is too much paranormal activity. And yeah, I think this is going to be another vlog. Remember, you guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care and that y'all want to see more awesome videos. And, well, helps me overcome my fears. Like I said, I don't like being here. It just leaves a sick feeling in my stomach. But anyway, you guys, remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care and that y'all want to see more awesome videos. So without further ado, you guys, this vlog is over.